guys, Crawl here. Welcome to Crawl Unchained. So, just by the way, the footage you're watching right now is just random in-game footage for you guys to have something to look at while I do my intro. Now, about that intro, recently I uploaded a video which was kind of like a tutorial, more like a guide about the ship editor in Interstellar Rift. I was giving you tips and tricks on how to deal with the ceilings, because that's pretty much a very hard thing to do in Interstellar Rift. It's very unintuitive and all that. I know for a fact a few days later now that the video that I posted has helped at least 2 people so far that I know of, maybe more, but anyway. So I decided right now I'm about to go and start working on the outside of my ship, and like if I take the last ship that I uploaded as a reference, when I uploaded it and posted it, well, when I uploaded it to the workshop and made videos about it on YouTube, the response I got was pretty good. People were loving the ship. I'm actually going to show you pictures of it right now, just in case you haven't seen it yet. People really loved it. I did 3 models of that ship, and I think the one that has the fewest amount of downloads is like 83 right now. But 2 of them have way over 100 downloads from the workshop, which is definitely pretty good, and it just keeps going up. Every day I see downloads going up. So anyway, I do have a bit of a creative mind. I do pay a lot of attention to detail, which is the reason why my ship has so much detail on it. I think that flat surfaces are boring, so I try to add as much detail as I can. Now, since I'm about to go and work on the current ship that I'm working on right now, and I'm about to start working on the exterior, I've already started a little bit, but you know, I'm not too far advanced into the exterior, so I think it's a good time for me to do a bit of a guide like I did with the ceilings and lighting tutorial that I did. Before I do that, however, I just want to give a little tip when it comes to trying to get inspiration. Now, what I usually do before I start working on the exterior of any ship, and I've played Space Engineers in the past. I'm actually going to show you a few pictures of ships that I've built in Space Engineers. Now, I consider myself even better than I was back then now, because those ships were made a few years back in a older version of Space Engineers, but that's irrelevant. Those are ships I built back when I feel like I wasn't even as good as I am today, and you know, I had a lot of practice with that game as well. And then I played Robocraft, and I've built some pretty damn good looking robots in Robocraft, which got a lot of positive comments. So I think I'm in a good position to try and give advice to you guys. That being said, I said I would show you a few pictures. Well, not actually, I haven't said that. I said I would give you tips and tricks on how to get inspiration, and that is to Google up spaceships, images of spaceships, and to look at pictures and see the kind of detail that those people are putting on their ships to make them look more realistic, to make them look like they're actually a mechanical thing that is meant to fly into space. Flat surfaces will not get you that wow or that awe factor. Sadly, there's a lot of ships being uploaded to the workshop that don't have any details on them, and I can understand that not everyone is willing to spend 15 to 20 hours working on just the outside of their ships. Not everyone is willing to spend that kind of time working on their ships. But, it doesn't take that much more effort to just add just that little tiny bit of detail that's just going to make it stand out from the rest. Um, and a lot of ships that get uploaded to the workshop are just completely flat. It's like people just round up the edges that's already there. Because when you enter the exterior edit mode for the first time, there's already at least one block thick of armor already placed there by the game, and then you just add on to that, and then you can change the shape of your ship entirely. But anyway, I just want to give a few examples of ships that I really like, and that I don't even think that I'm even at the same level as those guys. The first ship I'm going to show you here is a ship made by Sentinel, who's actually a developer in the game, but the ship that he made was made in the same editor, using the same tools and the same props and the same everything that we have access to. So he built that ship using the ship editor, the in-game ship editor. He didn't have access to any kind of tools that we don't have access to. So yeah, the fact that he's a developer definitely, makes it easier for him, I guess, because he's the one who actually designed the ship editor, and he's the one who does the models for pretty much everything in the game. He's a hell of an artist, and I think that shows in that ship that he made. He also made a few other ships for the game, which are absolutely amazing. And he's the one who made the Peregrine model, which is the starter ship for the S3 faction. So yeah, he built a few ships, and every one of his ships are absolutely amazing. If you compare his ships with the majority of ships that get uploaded to the workshop, they don't even look like they were made in the same game. Simply because he added so much details to his ship, and most people don't. Now here's another ship that I absolutely love because it has a lot of detail on it, and it was made by another player. I'm actually gonna put his name there on the screen. I can't remember it right now, but I know I wrote it down somewhere. So anyway, that's another ship I really like. It was made by another player, not a developer. And he's also a very talented person, which I don't even consider myself to be at the same level as this guy. But I think, if you look at my Mermello design that I made, I think I'm in a good position to maybe give a few tips and tricks that might help people add a few details to the ship. But the first step for me is always to look at pictures just to boost my inspiration. I would never encourage people to copy other people's work, so I would never encourage someone to go and grab a picture on Google and then try and recreate the exact same ship. That's not what I'm telling you guys to do. It's just pay more attention to the detail on that ship. I don't know how else to explain it. Hang on. I'm gonna try and load a picture here. Okay, let's just load this one for example. Okay, so okay, I just want to zoom in right now. Hang on. Alright, so I'm zoomed in now. So look at the amount of detail on that ship. Look at all those lines, all those little things sticking out, which could be antennas. The variation in colors, like this here is just a square with 4 smaller squares inside of it. But just this, it adds detail to the ship. It adds contrast. it makes it look more mechanical, and that's what we need. Those little things in the back here, it's just like a square, and then there's a slope here. But just adding those kinds of things adds so much to the look on the outside. Here, it's just like a shape sticking out of another shape. If you break it down to the very basic of things, it's a shape that's extruding out of another shape, and then on that shape there's an X here, and then there's like these little circles. Those things are nothing more than just shapes, and that's kind of like what you have to understand here. Here we have like circles on top of, just it. In a lot of cases, ships that get uploaded to the workshop, they're just, this here would be completely flat, and there might be those other parts of the ship that would still be there, but there would be no detail on them. It would just be completely flat, completely one color, completely flat. And just adding shapes that stick out and then adding some color just adds so much more, and it just makes the ship look so much better. And that's basically all you have to do. So now that all of this has been said, I'm just gonna load up my ship, the current ship that I'm working on, in the editor, and I'm gonna start working on it. And as I work on it, I'm gonna explain to you what I do and why I do it as I'm doing it, so that I'm hoping that it's gonna help you guys maybe understand that it's not really that hard to add detail to it. You just have to be willing to spend the time and try things, and if you don't like it, scratch it and try something else until it looks a way that you like. So anyway, I'm just gonna load up the editor and I'll be right back. Okay, so now we're in the game. I've loaded up my ship. Now to access the exterior editor, it's the F3 key, or if you can follow my cursor here, it's this button right here, exterior edit mode. So the shortcut for it is F3. So we're gonna press F3 right now. Now, as you can see, I've already started work a little bit on the outside, but most of it is still just like the basic look that I would get once I'm done working on the interior. So the things that I've added are obviously the solar panels. That would be the first thing that I do, is to add a bunch of solar panels everywhere, pretty much everywhere that I have a nice and flat surface that I can add them on. It doesn't really add detail just yet. Now, the way that this game works, unlike Space Engineers, the solar panels do not have to be exposed to sunlight in order to generate energy. But the way that they compensate for that is to have solar panels provide very low amounts of energy. They always provide energy, even if you cover them up. I could actually go here, take this block here, and cover this solar panel up. It would still provide energy. So keep that in mind. When you're designing your ship, you do not have to have your solar panels completely exposed in order for them to work. So this allows you to add even more detail to your ship, because you can actually add more blocks on top of those solar panels. So that's why I usually add a bunch right from the get-go, knowing that I'm probably going to end up covering some of them up. Things that I definitely want to look out for here are the windows. Now, I did add some blocks here that are covering up those windows here, but it doesn't really matter, because when I'm on the inside of the ship walking around, from my character's perspective, those windows are not very useful. They do allow me to look straight up, but that's pretty much it. I don't really have any other kinds of view, so I don't want to cover them up completely. But I do want to add some detail in this area, like even that the side of these solar panels here, I'm gonna add stuff to that. Yes, it's gonna block the view that I get partially block it, kind of, but I don't really mind that because once I'm inside the ship, I'm not going to be using those windows all that much. I just want them to still be usable, to still be able to see through it when I'm looking up, but even if some of them are covered, like I said, they're not going to be that useful. So I'm clicking here. I'm just going to put those blocks back, the ones that I removed. It was this block right here. So these lines that you see here are a combination of 3 blocks. It's this one, and then this one, and then hang on. Oh, it was right here. This one here. So this one here creates the tip of it. So anyway, I'm gonna go back up, select this block, and put it back where it was. Something else I can say about the exterior edit mode is that a lot of people seem to believe that they have to keep that same shape, and they can't really modify the shape at all. So what they would probably end up doing is just round up these edges right here by using, just let me find that block. This block right here. So they would end up putting this block right here everywhere that there's an edge, just to round it up a little bit more, and remove these sharp edges and the squariness of the ship. But this in itself isn't really adding any detail to your ship, so you can actually change the shape completely if you want to. Say I want to add I don't know. I know I do have an idea, something I want to add later on the ship. It's like arms that are going to stick out from somewhere on this part of the ship, and it's going to come and join up with this side of the ship, and it's going to come at an angle. Like it's going to go forward first, then come up at an angle, and then join up with the side of the ship there. It's just going to look like this part here is more supported and not just supported by this here. So you can change the shape completely on the ship, and I'm just gonna prove it by just adding a bunch of random blocks here. I can actually extend this as far as I want to extend it, and I can give it the shape that I want. Like, I mean, this is obviously extremely ugly, so I'm definitely not gonna keep that there. It's just to prove my point here that you don't have to keep the basic shape that the game is giving you once you're done with the interior. You can modify that shape and add as much detail as you want. Now, this ship is going to be a bit tricky because I kind of regret what I did here, and I might actually end up removing this entire top part and making this go a bit higher, because right now I'm limited with what I can add in this area of the ship here, because if I add too much here, then I would be blocking the view for those 2 turrets that are right there. And obviously, okay, that might have messed up the audio. That autosave that just happened, sometimes it messes up the audio. I apologize if that happens. Now, yeah, like I was saying, there's 2 turrets right here, and if I'm not careful with what I add on the top here, then I might end up blocking the view for those turrets, and not just the view. I might end up blocking them completely and rendering them useless. So I can't add too much on the top here, which, like I said, right now I'm kind of regretting putting them there, and I might actually modify this entire area to make it more effective, I guess, because right now the shot that they get is very, very limited. I might actually end up changing the position of those 2 missile launchers or torpedo launchers, whatever you want to call those. Also, this part here, it has windows on the roof. I haven't dealt with that kind of situation before because my the previous ship that I built did not have windows on the roof like that. It only had windows on the sides, and this is causing this build to be a bit trickier than the previous one. Same for these windows right here. But anyway, enough talk for now. Let's just start working on the ship and actually trying to do something out of this. So like I said, I wanted to... Hang on, that block, it just annoys me. So I want to add something on the sides here that's not going to be completely blocking the view for the windows that are here. And I do have a little bit of an idea here, and I'm gonna need a block that's similar to this one, but half the length of this one. So I think if I click the arrow here and go down, I do have one right here. So I'm gonna... Oh, by the way, I'm pressing arrow keys to rotate the block the way I want it. And one tip I can give you, like sometimes like let's say from this position I'm not gonna be able to get it to the position that I really want it. Now rotating your cam is actually gonna make the rotation change. So from this position here, it rotates like this, and actually it would do the same from this position. If I go up, same. Okay, so this block is not the right example for this. But yeah, if the block that you're trying to rotate is refusing to rotate the way that you need it, change your camera angle to face the block so that it rotates. By using the down and up arrow keys, it's gonna rotate the same way like this all the time. But if I was to place it like this and then pressing the down and up arrow keys, then it would rotate lengthwise. So yeah, I don't know how else to explain this. This is pretty much the best way that I can explain it. I'm sorry if it's a bit confusing. Actually, I'm just seeing this now, and I'm wondering if maybe... Nah, no, that's not gonna work unless I want to... Whoops, this happens sometimes too. Now, I'm just trying something here. I don't even know if it's gonna stay or not. I just want to see if I actually like this or not. Like I said, I want to put something there. I just don't want to put something that would cover the window too much. I actually don't like this. So I'm gonna go back to that little block that I was originally gonna use. I'm gonna leave this area here empty because I might end up doing something different in this one. I'm just gonna go with the middle part. So right now I want it rotated that way, I think. Yes. So I'm gonna go like this for now. This might end up being changed later when I come back to this part. If I think there's not enough detail for my taste, I might actually end up... Whoops, no, I said not this area. I might actually end up changing this. Yeah, I knew I ended up putting one where I didn't want it. Now, for now, the goal for this was just to have a little bit of a slope here instead of a straight edge like this. But like I said, there is a very good chance that this might be modified later on. Now, obviously, I don't want this area here to remain completely flat, so I'm gonna try and figure something out to make this part and then this part and then this part, just, you know, give it some contrast, give it some detail. So I'm probably gonna go here. I could just go back to using that same block that's here all the way around, like all for the entire length, not sure that would be such a great idea. Oh, I think I just had an idea here. It's actually something that I did with the previous Mermello design. And since this is meant to be like the next Mermello ship, then I definitely want to do to keep like a similar art style with this one, because this is meant to be like the next upgraded version of the Mermello. So now from here, if I want to end on that edge here, same as this one, all I gotta do is go to the to the square blocks and then use this. Alright, then I need to do something in the middle. If I go back one. As you can see, it's alternating. Like there's one that goes straight down like this at an angle, obviously. This one is kind of like rounded up. So it's alternating like that. Then do I want this? Those windows are really messing me up. I could do something so much better looking if not for the windows. So let's just go and have a look at the other categories here. Is there something? I'm not gonna use just a whole bunch of flickering lights here or strobe lights, but you know, that's a one square block, so yeah, you know, lights could be an option. Hang on. So another example, having to rotate the camera to get it the way I want it. So I could add this the entire length, but this would look probably a bit weird and dumb. So I don't want to do that, but one thing I could add to the entire length of this thing, I'd have to remove these blocks. However, that's not a problem. And I think that is actually what I will do. It's these blocks right here. Yeah. I'm gonna start it here. Hang on, just okay. Like this. Then I need the one that doesn't have that little square here at the end. I need the one that's just a straight line. And then I'm gonna end it again with this one here, which I'm just gonna rotate like that. And I think that if I look at it from the top, this white line is definitely going to add to the look. It's you know, that's what I mean by detail. Just adding those kinds of things is just gonna give it more detail. Now I have an empty space here because it used to be a block that was two blocks long, connecting with this triangular shape right here. I removed that. It was a block like this one here, pretty much. Now I'm gonna have to fill that gap with this block right here, like that. If it doesn't look good, I might end up changing it. Then again, right now it might not look as good as it will once it's painted, because paint, adding color, is also gonna add a lot of detail. So for now, I'm just gonna do what I did here. I'm gonna do that same thing on the other side. This is fairly simple to do, guys, yet it's gonna add so much to the end result. And then a little like this. Kind of wanted to add one like this that just keeps that line going. I don't think there is such a block. Oh, there is. There's one right here, like that. But yeah, no. Okay, so I'm just gonna put that one back. Like that. Alright. I'll go back here, take this block again. Not quite sure. And also, like, when you look at one part of your ship and you're like, okay, so what I'm gonna do here, and then nothing comes up to your mind, like you have no ideas coming up at all, leave that part for now and go work on another part. Yeah, something I did think about doing here, like on the previous Mermillo design, I did have thrusters here in it, you know, in a similar way to this right now, but the thrusters were like positioned in an angle here, like that. So I'm thinking about doing the same thing here, because having them completely straight like this is kind of boring, so I don't really want that. So that's what I'm going to be working on right now, is the thrusters. So I'm going to remove them like this, and then use this block here, and I've rotated it so that it's in this position right here, and then I'm gonna put another thruster on that one, and then here it's gonna be 2, here it's gonna be 3, here it's gonna be 4. So my thrusters are gonna be coming forward like this, and it's gonna make them look a lot better. So it's this one right here, rotate it like that. This, I do believe, once they're covered up, it's gonna make this part look a lot better than if I had left them completely flat like this. So go back to here. Alright, go back to the Engines and Thrusters tab and put them back on. Oops. Now, since I am feeling the inspiration here a little bit, I'm gonna be working on this area, because I honestly, right now, do not know what I want to do next in this area. So I'm going to be working here because I know exactly what I want to do for those thrusters. Um, I know that on my last ship I had used this block like this, and it was covering the thruster about like that. Now I want to cover each one of those thrusters the same way like this. But this is probably going to change because I know this is not how it looks on the other one. Hang on. I want to try something different here. Well, again, the autosave. Okay, so I need to leave. No. Instead of using these blocks, I'm going to use these big ones. So the first one would be here, and this one is not going to have any block. This one is going to have this. This one is going to go like this. Oops. So we're going to try that. Well, actually, we're going to try it before we do it to the other side. So back to thrusters. Now, I could have gotten the exact same results with this block right here. I would have just had to, place 2 of them, and here 4 of them, and here 6 of them, and here 8 of them. More blocks like these, I believe, would probably cause your ship to be built using more polygons, and the more polygons, the harder it would be for the game to load it. It would cause probably a bit more lag. Using bigger blocks like these generates less or fewer seams in between each blocks. It's lower amount of blocks to load for the game, and I do believe it's going to cause the game to lag a bit less. It's going to be not quite as hard on your machine to load up that ship. Alright. Now let's see if I can do what I wanted to do. Okay, that's what I need. I know on my previous model I had like a transition block here, and I had actually managed to completely round it up. I didn't have these hang on, I'm gonna use a page down key right here just to reposition my camera. And yeah, I know this, I'm gonna end up not using this block here where it transitions. I'm probably gonna have that block only for the last one and the first one, and it might actually just be the first one. The transition block was, if I remember correctly, a block like this one here, but it wasn't that one. It was a thicker one. I think it's right here. No, it's not that one. Where are you? I know it exists. Oh, it's right here. So, like that. As you can see, it looks pretty good. You can kind of have a sense of what it's gonna look like when once this part here is finished. So I know now which block I need to use to transition smoothly between this one and this one. So I'm gonna remove those, and I think it's this block here. Yep, it is indeed this one. Like this. So as you can see now, it all transitions smoothly from one block to the other, and once it's painted, it's gonna look much better. It's all. I'm not a fan of flat surfaces, but for things like these, I kind of like that better. So now I could just use more solar panels like these and just fill up this entire area with solar panels and then add more blocks on top of it. What that would do is there would be some solar panels hidden in here. Maybe some of those solar panels would still be visible, because I might not cover this entire area completely, or cover them completely, but actually, I'm just gonna do it and shut up. So, power, solar panels. Alright, and then, actually, you know what? I'm not sure I even like that. Because obviously the corner of each one of these blocks is gonna remain visible, and it's just gonna look silly. So if I just leave that one line there and nothing more, and even that, like, I'm at least gonna want this part. Yeah, like this is gonna be fine. Could have left some solar panels there. These ones here were fine. Then as I'm extending this part here, eventually it's gonna end up, you know, covering some of this area here. I'm just not gonna do it right now because I need to copy this on the other side now. So first I need to remove the thrusters. I think that not all of them need to be angled this way. I could do this and this. When patterns are just identical for an entire, like, you don't have to keep the same pattern all the way either, because again it just looks too basic. But if things kind of like vary a little bit here and there, sometimes it helps. So I'm gonna try that. Do the same thing here. Again, you know, this might end up changing. I keep changing my mind all the time, and the more I work on a ship, the more I start to see what the end result is gonna look like, the more inspired I become, and the easier it gets to make things happen. The more inspiration I get over time. So it starts like this, right? No, that's the wrong way. It starts like this, I believe, but no. Actually starts at the tip of it. But I think it would look better like this, to be perfectly honest here. So I'm gonna remove this and this and go like that. It looks nicer if part of the the thruster is actually sticking out. Alright, but these are not going to stay. So it's actually going to be this one here, rotated this way, I believe. And then this one here. Now, all I have to do is do that same thing here on the bottom side of it. Or I could also choose to add another row of thrusters. I could add 15 rows of thrusters if I wanted to, going down like that. But obviously that would look dumb. It would look silly and weird and not very good. But I'm actually thinking about adding another row of thrusters or engines, because these are actually engines, they're not thrusters. And what I could do is offset them by 1. Again, just for the sake of not repeating the same. Like this. I don't even have to put the same amount, but yeah, these here are gonna have to be. Now here, because there's already this, if I try to put this one here, it's gonna be like 1 block lower, so I'm not going to be using that big fat block. I'm going to use a half one. Well, it's not a half one, but anyway, you guys know what I mean. So I'm going to use this like that. And I'm going to come and do the same thing on this side. Go here. I honestly cannot wait for the devs to add symmetry. I rarely do symmetry on this axis right here because I do not want the top and the bottom to look the same, but I always do symmetry like this line, this axis, so that the left side, actually this is the right side, and the left side look the same. That's what I usually like. Alright, so time to add the thrusters or engines. Now, honestly guys, I do not know if having thrusters or engines facing forward is helping the ship stop better. I would think that it does. I think it would be logical if it does. It would make sense if it does, but I don't know if it does. And what I do know is that the position that you place your engines or maneuvering thrusters is completely irrelevant in most cases. Having those thrusters there are actually going to boost my top speed. So you can place your thrusters anywhere on the ship, and they're going to boost your top speed no matter what. So I could put a thruster right here, and this would actually help boost my top speed, even though my top speed would normally be affected by those engines here in the back because they're pushing the ship forward. So I know that maneuvering thrusters can be placed in any position. They're going to help you maneuver no matter what, no matter which direction. When it comes to forward-facing thrusters, I know they do help with top speed. I do not know if they help you stop faster, however. Okay, so we're gonna keep them there for now. I just, once again, do not know if this is gonna stay or not. But I will do this for now and do that top cover, I'm gonna do that same thing here on the bottom. But something I need to do first is fill up this area, and I'm actually gonna fill it up with solar panels because they're gonna be covered up anyways. And they're generating power, which is always a good thing. The only thing is, you need to keep in mind that solar panels are heavier than regular armor blocks, and I don't think it makes sense, honestly. I don't think that solar panels should be heavier than thick steel. I think that solar panels should actually be thinner than this. They shouldn't even be um, as thick as a regular armor block. But I think that they did it this way to help performance with the game, so that, you know, the game doesn't have to load too many different blocks. Maybe they did it this way temporarily, I don't know. Maybe they're gonna change them in the future, but I know that they made it twice as heavy as a regular armor block simply for balance purposes. I guess it's a trade-off because those blocks generate energy, so the trade-off is that they are heavier than regular blocks. Again, I'm not one of the devs, so I don't really know. Now, I don't know if you guys noticed, but I'm kind of like having issues getting the camera positioned the way I want it. So one little trick I can give you to position the camera better is to zoom in, because that way you go slower, so it's good for positioning your camera with more precision. And now, since the center of rotation that I'm having is not right, I want to go down. I'm going to use the page down key to bring the camera down like this, and now I can position my camera better to make it easier for me to work under here. So I know now I'm too low. Okay, so it starts about there. Alright. Now I know that this block is not the one that's gonna stay, but for now I'm just gonna do this. Then I'm gonna remove that one and put this one instead. I'm gonna go and do that same thing on the other side. Alright, so now I need to figure out what I want to do here. Do I want another thruster sticking out here and then closing it? Or do I want to close it as is right now? I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm actually going to close it as is and then extend this further and maybe put some lights or maneuvering thrusters on the tip. So I'm a bit too low right now. I'm going to press page up until I'm comfortable. And now the way to close this is going to be a bit trickier, I think. I know I want that block for sure. It's right. Okay, so like that, and then like that. I'm not 100% sure how I'm going to do this yet, but I'll figure it out. I'm just going to try things, and I know how to round this up, so I'm going to go and do that right now. It's this block right here. Stupid autosave. Alright. Okay. The fact that I offset them is actually the thing that's making it difficult for me to figure out how I want to do this right now. I may not be able to do something about this part. I might have to keep it like this because of the offset, honestly. So what I could do is just bring this block here forward one block and make it completely equal with these here. It's just it would end up covering the bottom thrusters completely. They wouldn't be sticking out like these ones here or like they are right now. So like I said earlier, when you're not sure how to keep going with what you're currently working on, you just go and work on something else. You come back to it later. That's what I do, and it's served me well in the past. So, okay, yeah, that's how I want it. Now, I think I did mention that I was gonna probably add lights here. Actually, I could just use more solar panels here. Yep, not that far. And go industrial. And use lights. And then of course I'm gonna put more stuff here to just remove those sharp edges right there. There's not gonna be many sharp edges left when I'm done, that's for sure. No, solar panels. Or something that I could have added right here is this. I kind of like this better than lights, honestly. I'm just going to rotate them, however, to try and be symmetrical to the other side. I think this is how they are over here. Alright, now on the previous Mermelot ship, there was an area similar to this, and what I did was place my array. Hang on. Yeah. I placed my array in that area. But, yeah, okay. If I center it like this. Obviously, I'm gonna have more than one array on that ship. I don't know if this is gonna stay there. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. I absolutely have no idea. I can't possibly make a tutorial video about the exterior editor and cover everything in one video, and I can't possibly build my ship completely in one video. As you can see, it's a bit of a long process. There's a lot of trial and error. I do believe that I've shown a lot here. I mean, I don't feel like I've shown as much as I hoped I would, but I'm running out of inspiration here, and this video is already getting fairly long. So I'm sorry if you haven't seen what you were looking for. Just, you know, ask me questions in the comment section of the video, and I'll do my very, very best to answer them. But I'm just gonna remind you guys, the best thing you can do is look at pictures and try to boost your inspiration this way. Uh, Actually, you could start by simply rounding off those edges everywhere and then simply adding on to that, just adding more shapes to the ship. That would just give it some more detail, and that would be probably the simplest way to do it. My The mistake I'm making a lot of times is trying to visualize the ship the way that I want it, and then nothing comes up, and I always end up just going, starting to work on something, and then, oh, then I get an idea, and then I get to develop that idea until I'm pretty much satisfied with that part of the ship, and then I go back and then look at it, and then I can actually, I'm not even kidding here, I can sometimes stare at my ship for 15-20 minutes just thinking about ways, thinking of what I want to do next on it, and then I'm gonna go and try something that sometimes I'll like it right away, sometimes I won't. uh, but yeah, these projects, they're not short projects. They're actually very long. If you're gonna want to do a beautiful ship, you're gonna have to be willing to invest the time in it. Um, Hopefully, with what I've shown, you have a good idea about how to use the exterior editor. Um, I honestly don't know what else to say right now. Um, I don't know what else to show you for now, because like my inspiration right now is leaving me. I know there was this part that I knew what to do, I knew what I wanted, so it was easy for me to get working on that right away, and I had a bit of an idea what I wanted to do here, so it was easy for me to get working on that as well. I'm not sure what I want to do next, so I'm just gonna end the video rather than just keep, babbling and extending it pointlessly. So hopefully you guys learned a thing or two. Hopefully this video is gonna help some people to the very least. And so I'm gonna wish you guys a good day or a good night, and I will see you guys next time. Bye bye.